Hey family, welcome to Family Meeple. I'm Raymond, and this is a recording on what the heck is happening with the state of board games right now. Yeah, it just seems to be way out there at the moment. And yeah, it's sad times, folks. I confess I'm just not entirely sure what is going on. I mean, you can see for myself, I am personally inundated with board games. So there is part of me that thinks, do you know what? I've done very well. I've got a good collection. I think I record my stuff at BGG. I think I come in at around about 300 games, including expansions. Certainly in excess of 100 board games. And I know many of you guys out there have got many more than that, which is great for you guys. Love it. And yeah, I mean, for me, I love the variety. I love the puzzling, the brain work. I love to keep that grey motor going, which is fantastic. It's what attracts me, I guess, in the hobby space. Yeah, there's a number of reasons for me why I love board games, and I think some of that stuff I've alluded to before on the channel. I would consider myself certainly on the autistic scale. I've certainly not been officially diagnosed. I would probably be considered a high functioning autistic, but yeah, certainly have issues around that stuff. And I think one of the things that I find really comforting with board games is actually just having a very hard set of rules and parameters, and you know what the task is, you know what you need to do to achieve a win, to overcome the odds, to ultimately deliver on the goods, and you're working within those parameters that are set within the game. I certainly can confess I get very frustrated when a set of rules are unclear or ambiguous, and I akin that to life. I find life, particularly dealing with people, troublesome. I do find it very challenging at times, particularly politics. Don't get on well with politics. Working in political environments does not sit well with me, but by the grace of God, I have been incredibly blessed to be employed by an organisation where politics is absolutely at an extreme low minimum. As a company, they're there to deliver services to our customers and to keep the customer happy. That they recognise that is their number one purpose, and that is how they operate, which is fantastic for me because it means, I work in sales, but it means I can just be truly honest and open with our customers and say, you know, this is what you're after, this is what we can deliver exceptionally well, this is stuff actually we've got gaps and we can partner to deliver that stuff, whatever, and I'm digressing here and I appreciate that. But it's great to have those clear parameters, and certainly, you know, it wasn't without its troubles when I first joined the organisation, and in fact was finding my feet, finding my way, trying to work out what we deliver a standard, what is not standard, etc. And again, I akin that very much to my board game experience. You know, I'm yet still to dig into the likes of scenarios and the RPG stuff. I mean, certainly Dungeons and Dragons I got into back in 2nd edition. So 5th edition I haven't even looked at properly yet. But yeah, really excited to dig into that. And anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. So what is happening with board games? So that's a bit around, for me personally, what it means to me about board games. You can see, and I apologise, I've been rather elusive on my channel for a while now, and you can see I've just completely lost capacity on my table at the moment. I've got some friends that have recently got into Necromunda from Games Workshop. So yeah, as you can see, this is very much taken over my world at the moment, and I just don't have table space right now. I need to finish getting this stuff painted up, finished off, and you can see I'm just trying to kind of go to town really on the aesthetics of the pieces that these are all kind of 3D printed, and they're all just piecemeal, and I can put them together, and yeah, just upside down, just enjoying digging into this stuff, right? I don't know why that's not focusing, but there you go. But yeah, I'm enjoying myself, and that's what this hobby is all about. As far as I'm concerned, it's about entertainment. It's about enjoying one's time, both with oneself, in terms of having a lot of games in my collection that are solo compatible, as well as then being able to embellish and really, you know, so that's where having the 3D printers and stuff like that really helps me to dig in and think more about the games that I'm playing, how to make my life easier, whether that be to do with the setup and teardown, whether that be with the actual gameplay mechanics itself. So things like terraforming Mars and having those tiny little cubes just on a flat piece of card versus actually having a 3D printed or MDF created board that you can then slot those pegs into, and it just maintains the stability of the game. Stability base, space base, I found the same with that one. So yeah, there's little foibles, little things like that I thoroughly enjoy and love, and I really do spend a lot of my time dedicated to board games, not just to playing them. And I've got some of that stuff on my channel, right? Is the playthroughs, as well as obviously the excitement of the unboxings. Love that. But then it is very much around some of the embellishments, right? So you've seen some of my craft stuff, particularly around the Zombicide Undead or Alive, created buildings and terrain and things like that. Anyway, it's another adjacent sidestep for me, so apologies. So am I going to be impacted, I think, is the question that probably lots of us are asking right now, particularly if you've got half a dozen or more games that you've previously backed on Kickstarter, GameFound, any other number of crowdfunding platforms that are out there. Is it going to impact you? For me personally, yes, I am concerned. And again, there's a divide here, right? There's a significant impact on the livelihoods of these companies that are being impacted by this stuff. So, I mean, for example, go through some of the ones that I've still got outstanding to a degree, and you'll see what I mean by that. So, the company that already folded, Blacklist Games, I got their where is it? It's their AutoQuest. It's just hiding. Just here. There it is. AutoQuest, working in mirror with the camera. So AutoQuest, I got and absolutely love. It is a fantastic system. It feels a bit long for what it does deliver, and I'm not quite sure what that is. There's something in that mechanism, but anyway, the foundational game itself, fantastic, love it. Yet to dig into the campaign aspect that came in that game, and again, there's a good level of camaraderie and what's the phrase? Community online on Facebook groups that are also followers and lovers of AutoQuest. I thoroughly enjoyed playing the minis, playing the game. Fantastic game. Unfortunately, Blacklist Games folded. Not after, unfortunately, taking a lot of backers' funds. So following on from the success of AutoQuest, perhaps there were other games as well. Their big sort of TTRPG was Lasting Tales. They did at least manage to produce the books for that. For that, and we have got a PDF copy as a backer. But yeah, I'm looking at maybe £60 to £100 to then get that manufactured, produced into a physical book that I can use to actually play the game. Fine, I can use it obviously on PDF, or I can just print it out myself. 266 pages. And then of course they had all the miniatures that came with that. Fantasy Series 1, Fantasy Series 2. The miniatures were sold separately to another company now called Wildspire. And in fact I have just received from America. My copy of the Fantasy Series 1 set, both the 2 boxes that they came in. So I have got both of those. I can't recall, I may have done on my channel an actual unboxing of the original Fantasy Series 1. I did actually receive my original Fantasy Series 1. However, I did back, because of the value, the sheer value of 125 miniatures for, I think it was like $60 in the original campaign. Because of the ridiculous value, I did back a second set, and unfortunately that money is gone, never to be seen again. And this is the gamble, folks. Yeah, when we're doing crowdfunding, you know, we're putting our faith out there. I have heard, and I think I've once fallen prey to a genuine scammer. Perhaps there was some, I don't know, dog game back when my kids were much younger, and I thought, oh yeah, that looks fun, looks light enough, could get the kids to the table with this. And I backed it in good faith. It was like $50. Okay, fine, whatever. And you know, there's a risk for this stuff, right? That one, there was a whole hoo-ha around that. But yeah, it is what it is. So going back to about this game, so Dire Alliance was another game. They paired up with, who was it? The Sadler brothers, Adam and Brady Sadler, who did go on and leave Backlist Games long before there were issues. Now, whether they got a whiff that there were issues coming, I don't know. It's always questions, right, in the back of our mind, what's going on in these industries. Anyway, they moved on. But before they moved on, they did create the Dire Alliance Horror. And this was very much based on the kind of Normandy Undaunted, or Undaunted, that was created by Trevor Benjamin and David Thompson. So again, you know, highly acclaimed game, highly acclaimed mechanics, really, really good system. I did get to play it on TTS, and yeah, it worked really well. Was really interested, loved all the sort of the theme and the miniatures. I've always been to that kind of gothic, you know, early 19th century horror stuff. So yeah, backed it, and again, another one will never see the light of day. Again, the miniatures have been sold on to Wildspire, so they have already provided the STL files, so I can print them out myself. The issue being for me certainly is that printing them out is fine, but they're all resin. Resin tends to be much more brittle than actual plastic manufactured. So yeah, wait to see. Hopefully something more will come about with that. But Dire Alliance, Blacklist Games did produce them, and as far as I'm aware, they're kind of mothballed. I don't know how that works, folks, right? So they've got a warehouse now full of all these games that are sat there collecting dust. I don't get it, right? Why haven't they offered the opportunity for backers to say, okay, you know, this is the cost to ship you the game, pay the extra and we'll get it shipped to you, or something. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, very frustrating experience there, and that was kind of probably my first big letdown in board gaming. And seeing a company go through some form of dire straits, and again, how much of that was political, how much of that was issues of payments and poor handling of finances and what have you, who knows? I don't know. I don't have that insight. I don't have that inside track. I have seen some other scams since then and managed to avoid those. They were great to avoid. I've got other games that are on the way. So Canvas Big Box, I've already had my notification that is packed, sealed, delivered. It's in the UK to be distributed, so that's great. Happy to have that on the way. Looks great fun. But at the same time, not long after that, I received a email notification, and there was a update on Kickstarter regards to Merchant's Cove. Merchant's Cove, which again you can see up here. Really, really enjoyed that. I thoroughly enjoyed the asymmetrics of the individual gameplay. Also basing on a central board that you're then all competing over and influencing. The solo mechanism worked really, really well. It's very, very good game, and so they came back on its initial success, and of course the art by the Miko, you know, really nice style. So on the back of its initial success, they came back with a whole plethora of additional merchants that could be played. And again, these guys have produced the product, and they've shipped the goods. So in fact, shortly after receiving the Kickstarter notification, I did receive contact from GamesQuest in the UK, Spiral Galaxy Games, sorry, who have already received the goods. So again, these things have been produced, they're manufactured for the backers, and a lot of this stuff, right, is going on the back of the what's happening in Americas. Okay, there's no two ways about it. What's happening with President Trump, what's happening with trying to get goods out of China into the US. Obviously, beyond just the board games themselves, it is having a massive impact across multiple industries, right? That's the reality of it. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. So yeah, Merchant's Cove, the Master Crafter box, is in the UK, mothballed presently. Hopefully at some point I'll be able to pay a bit extra, get it shipped, and at least it won't be something that's, that's dead and gone. So other things that are outstanding. So AEG, again, soon to be delivered, I think. I've had my confirmation through for locking down the address. So Thunderstone Quest, episodes 16 and 17. So that's my massive card collector game. Loving that game, loving all the extras that they bring with that. So really enjoying that. Again, I don't know for AEG. My assumption would be the majority of the companies across the board gaming industry will be manufacturing their goods out of China, right? This is the reality. China have absolutely set up the systems, the ecosystem, and what is required to deliver fantastic goods at the best price, very, very good quality. And over time they've continued to develop that, to improve that. And unfortunately, anywhere else in the world, I think is going to struggle to compete with that. So yeah, who knows what's going on. So other games for me, Awaken Realms, Nemesis Retaliation. So obviously, yeah, I say obviously. So for me, really, really enjoyed the Nemesis series. So the third and final part, maybe, is that how it is portended presently. So the Retaliation, looking forward to that. And again, my understanding would be that maybe not produced out of China. I don't know. Obviously, these guys are European based, so whether they are manufacturing out of Europe, I don't know. But again, I think most of these are going to be produced out of China. I've backed the Game Tray's first game, which was Forsaken. Looked phenomenal fun, very Firefly-esque, kind of Western sci-fi intergalactic theme. Brilliant, demos that I've seen so far. Really excited to get that one, but will it happen? Hopefully so. Hopefully so. I don't know, folks. It's and bless them. Game Trays, they've supported so many board games across the years in the industry of creating inserts and providing them, providing game manufacturers with well-designed inserts for their games that get shipped as standard. And certainly for myself, I know how much of a difference that has absolutely made and makes for a game, being able to unpack it, get it to the table, put it away again, keep it all in order and organised. It really is a breath of fresh air when you get a game that is extremely well packaged and designed with the player in mind, in being able to get it to the table and get it set up and played. It does make a world of difference. So yeah, really feel for these guys. Their first time producing a game, they've obviously put a lot of effort, a lot of time in. These guys have known what they were doing, and unfortunately the world has conspired against them. And it's sad times, folks. Sad times. So another game I got is Flying Frog Productions, Shadow and Brimstone, the new Hell Train. Again, I was really excited about this one. They are still producing updates. I can only assume this is going to go ahead. I mean, Flying Frog Productions have got a considerable history, obviously, in producing these, and they've got a massive community for Shadows of Brimstone. This has been running for many years now. And this is just kind of the latest offering and flavour and setting and theme of that genre. So yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully will still be coming about. And then of course the big one for me is CMON. And folks, what the heck is happening with CMON? I don't know. There's obviously a lot of talk at the moment on the interwebs regards to CMON. I know certainly from the notification that came out on the Merchant's Cove Master Crafter update on Kickstarter, I know certainly there was a level of finger pointing to CMON. They had signed an agreement with CMON, and CMON had, I don't know if they purchased so much stock or what have you, and then unfortunately, because of CMON's situation at the moment with their finances, when the guys at the Produce Merchants Cove reached out, they unfortunately weren't provided the finances that had been promised. So yeah, it's very sad times. I'm just trying to find, apologies, who it is. It's Final Frontier Games is the company that have, unfortunately, they've gone. Final Frontier Games are no more. They've had to lay off all their staff. And it's incredibly sad. Like I say, Merchant's Cove, they did manage to produce. They had, I think, at least one other significant game in the throes of being produced, that had been developed, and Kaluma, I think it was, and yeah, it's not going to see the light of day, unfortunately. It's real sad times, folks. And yeah, so with CMON, what is happening with CMON? I've got no idea. I've certainly got a number of games outstanding with them. So one of them was well, a couple of them actually are pre-orders. So a pre-order that should have been received November last year, and we're now in April this year. So we're already 5-6 months late. And again, there's always been, for me, a lesser concern around the timescales. I appreciate there's always going to be delays, etc. And as long as the goods arrive, for me, I don't care. Right, but Providence, Death May Die, Cthulhu Death May Die, Providence, I think it was called. Yes, it is. Yes, Dark Providence, that's what it's called. Yeah, I'm second guessing myself now. And again, so in stock and online with some places, but where is it for the backers? And again, CMON are they do this time and time again to the people that back their games, that supposedly crowdfund and support them. I don't know. Is it legitimately crowdfund and supporting? Anyway, that's another debate for another video, definitely. But anyway, yeah. So Dark Providence, Cthulhu Death May Die. I backed it. I pre-ordered, maybe rather than backed that, specifically because, of course, it came with additional Cthulhu Death May Die content. I'm just seeing if I can see it behind me. Oh, there it is. There we go. So yeah, so Cthulhu Death May Die. Cthulhu Death May Die is my #1 game of all time, definitely. And I think CMON they really are up there in terms, as far as I'm concerned. They're probably 3 of my top 5 games are CMON games. So I think the Zombicide genre, I would put that all in one bucket for me. Undead or Alive is phenomenal. And likewise the Marvel Zombies, and I'm waiting for DC Zombies Deceased. And again, what exactly are these games now? I've got no idea. We've got Deceased, We've got the DC Superheroes United. I'm massively into Marvel United. I've got everything, seasons 1 through 3 for that. And I include, recently got my Witching Hour box, as I shared. And then Cthulhu Death May Die seasons 5 and 6, right? So literally just sealed my pledge on that. The funds were taken some time ago now. Yeah, and hopefully this stuff is going to become a reality. Obviously, they made an announcement of potentially being, or there was an audit, not necessarily an announcement, and there was an audit, obviously, regards to CMON being 2 million in the hole. That's not a small amount, folks. But, of course, these guys have got, 17, 19 games currently outstanding to be delivered. And obviously, with my assumption would be, with every time they go to crowdfunding and they produce an amount of stock to fulfill the backers' requirements, they'll also produce an amount of stock that they'll then go out and sell at the same time, right? So there's money invested that has yet to be returned, and there will be a lot of it, I would imagine. So, like I say, Dark Providence, it's out there available to buy on the shelves, online, the virtual shelves. So yeah, there's an amount of juggling, and I appreciate that, and I think that's where that 2 million in the hole has come from. I think it's just expedited. So things like the Dead Keep. They've designed and started production on that, and that's money in the hole invested, awaiting a return, right, until that's been produced and shipped. But how much of this content is due to go from China to the States and is now being massively crimped? Yeah, I can't think of another word for it, but yeah, there's a ridiculous impact. And I mean, I don't know if board games are a big enough industry that it would even be on President Trump's radar to say, so my understanding is he's already waived the tariff for computer parts. Yeah, so you've got manufacturers like Dell, HP, massive companies like that absolutely, I mean, it would just put America on its knees if all of its computer systems suddenly couldn't be repaired, warranty replaced, etc., on the basis that people can't get goods into the country. But that is, a massive impact. So like board games, these are first world problems, folks. These really are, and I just don't know. I don't know how much I don't know how much the impact is genuinely going to be when the dust starts to settle. We saw, we survived. I say we, our hobby survived through COVID and the lockdown and the astronomical shipping fees that everyone had to face off against. I think there are still ramifications and the dust settling from that. So on the back of that, with the American tariffs, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I genuinely feel for my American brothers and sisters that have backed these games that are being produced in China and now potentially facing ridiculously extortionate additional fees. Because if I had produced a board game and I was having to ship them, I mean, would I have the funds set aside? I would very much doubt it. Certainly not at, what is it, currently 150+% tariff? That's not happening, folks. That is not happening. Yeah, and like I say, going back to Final Frontier games and that devastating news from these guys, and if you haven't seen it, just go and look on Kickstarter, search up Merchant's Cove Mastercrafter by Final Frontiers Games, and the latest update on their Kickstarter, and it really is so sad. And it genuinely could be the first of many, and it is just sad. But anyway, yeah, let me know. I mean, this is a conversation, so let me know what your thoughts are. What have you got outstanding? What are you hoping to receive? Are you living in America? Are you being indirectly impacted by this? You're not living in America, but also being directly impacted by this, like with Final Frontiers. You know, yeah. Let me know your thoughts, folks. Leave a comment below. Hit that like button if you've liked this. And I appreciate I've gone all over the place a bit. But it's a conversation, right? And yeah, hopefully we'll be back soon with some more gameplay. Hopefully back soon with some more unboxings, but we'll see. Otherwise, ta-ta for now.